It's 3 a.m. on a freezing February night in the mountains of Colorado. The temperature has dropped to minus 15 degrees. A police canine named Rex won't stop digging in the snow. His handler tries everything to call him back, but Rex refuses to move. He just keeps digging, his paws bleeding, his breath coming out in desperate clouds of frost. What happened next would change everything, and one ordinary man would become a hero in the most unexpected way. If you love stories about courage, loyalty, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button right now, because what you're about to hear will restore your faith in humanity, and make sure you stay until the end, because the twist in this story will absolutely blow your mind. Let me take you back to where it all started. February 14th, 2023. Valentine's Day. While most people were planning romantic dinners or buying flowers, Officer Marcus Chen was beginning his night shift with the Colorado State Patrol. Marcus was a 32-year-old canine handler who'd been on the force for 8 years. His partner, Rex, was a 4-year-old German Shepherd with a track record that was nothing short of incredible. Together, they'd found missing hikers, tracked down suspects, and saved more lives than Marcus could count. But that night would test them like never before. The call came in at 2:47 a.m. A frantic mother named Sarah Mitchell had reported her 6-year-old daughter, Emma, missing. The little girl had been staying at her grandmother's cabin in the Rocky Mountains for the weekend. Somehow, in the middle of the night, Emma had wandered outside. No one knew how long she'd been gone. No one knew which direction she'd headed, and a massive snowstorm was rolling in. Marcus felt his stomach drop when he heard the details. He knew these mountains. He knew how quickly the temperature could plummet. He knew that a small child, probably wearing nothing but pajamas, wouldn't survive more than an hour or two in these conditions. "Rex," Marcus said, looking down at his faithful partner, "we've got work to do, buddy." Rex's ears perked up immediately. He knew that tone. It meant someone needed help. By the time Marcus and Rex arrived at the grandmother's cabin, a full search party had already assembled. There were police officers, firefighters, volunteer search and rescue teams, and dozens of neighbors who'd heard about the missing child. Everyone was bundled up against the bitter cold, their faces grim with worry. Sarah Mitchell stood in the doorway of the cabin, her face pale and tear-streaked. Marcus approached her gently. "Ma'am, I'm Officer Chen. This is Rex. We're going to find your daughter, I promise you." Sarah looked down at the German Shepherd, her eyes filled with desperate hope. "Please," she whispered. "Please find my baby girl." Marcus knelt down and let Rex smell one of Emma's stuffed animals. The dog's nose twitched as he memorized the scent. Then Rex looked up at Marcus, ready to go. The search team fanned out in different directions, but Marcus trusted Rex's instincts more than any grid pattern or search strategy. He let the dog lead the way. For the first hour, they trudged through knee-deep snow following Rex as he tracked Emma's scent. The dog would pause occasionally, nose to the ground, then change direction slightly. Marcus's legs burned from the effort of walking through the snow. His face was numb from the cold, but he never once considered turning back. Neither did Rex. Around 4 a.m., the storm that meteorologists had been predicting finally hit with full force. The wind picked up, howling through the trees like a living thing. Snow fell so thick and fast that Marcus could barely see 3 feet in front of him. The temperature dropped another 10 degrees. Marcus's radio crackled. It was the search coordinator. "All units, we need to consider calling this off until the storm passes. Visibility is almost 0. We're putting searchers at risk." Marcus looked down at Rex. The dog was still moving forward, still tracking, his determination unwavering despite the brutal conditions. "Negative," Marcus responded into his radio. "Rex has the scent. We're continuing." "Chen, be reasonable. You could get lost out there yourself. We could end up searching for you too." Marcus knew the coordinator was right. This was dangerous. This was beyond dangerous. But somewhere out there, a 6-year-old girl was alone in the snow. Every minute that passed reduced her chances of survival. "I'm not turning back," Marcus said firmly. "Rex knows where he's going." There was a long pause on the radio. Then, "Understood. Godspeed, Chen." As Marcus and Rex pushed deeper into the wilderness, something unexpected happened. Through the blinding snow, Marcus saw a figure moving parallel to them about 50 yards away. At first, he thought it might be another searcher, but as he looked closer, he realized this person wasn't with the official search party. They were wearing dark, worn clothing and moved with a strange, purposeful gait through the storm. "Hey," Marcus called out. "Hey, are you with the search team?" The figure didn't respond. They just kept moving, always staying about the same distance away. Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. Who was this person? What were they doing out here in the middle of a blizzard? But before he could investigate further, Rex suddenly changed direction, pulling hard on his lead. The dog had found something. Marcus had to make a choice: follow this mysterious stranger or trust his canine partner. He chose Rex. As they veered away, Marcus glanced back one more time. The figure had stopped and was standing motionless in the snow, watching them. Then the storm swallowed them up, and they disappeared from view. Another hour passed, then another. Marcus was beyond exhausted. His legs felt like lead. His fingers and toes were numb despite his heavy boots and gloves. Ice had formed on his eyebrows and beard. He knew he was approaching the limits of what a human body could endure. But Rex seemed possessed by something Marcus had never seen before. The dog's pace had actually increased. He was pulling harder on the lead, whining urgently, his entire body vibrating with intensity. And then, at 6:23 a.m., Rex stopped. They were in a small clearing surrounded by thick pine trees. The snow here was particularly deep, probably 4 or 5 feet in some places, with drifts piled even higher by the wind. Rex began to dig. His powerful front paws moved in a blur, throwing snow behind him in great arcing sprays. He dug with such ferocity that Marcus stepped back, giving him room to work. "Rex, what is it, boy? What did you find?" The dog didn't stop. He just kept digging, faster and faster, going deeper into the snow. At first, Marcus thought maybe Rex had found some kind of animal den, or perhaps Emma had tried to burrow into the snow for warmth, a survival technique that sometimes worked in avalanche situations. But as Rex dug deeper, Marcus began to doubt. They were already 4 feet down into the snow, and there was still nothing. The dog must be wrong. The scent must have been confused by the storm. "Rex, come on, buddy. We need to keep searching. She's not here." But Rex refused to stop. He was digging so frantically now that his paws were bleeding, leaving small red spots in the white snow. His breath came in ragged gasps. He was exhausting himself. Marcus tried to pull him away. "Rex, heel! Come on, boy, we need to—" And then Rex's paw hit something that wasn't snow. Marcus's heart stopped. He immediately dropped to his knees beside Rex and began helping him dig with his gloved hands. Together they cleared away more snow, working as fast as they could. What they found made Marcus's blood run cold. It was wood. Old, weathered wood. They'd uncovered the roof of some kind of structure buried deep beneath the snow. An old mining shaft? A forgotten cabin? Rex was going absolutely crazy now, scratching at the wood, barking, whining. The message was clear. Whatever they were looking for was inside this buried structure. Marcus pulled out his radio with shaking hands. "This is Chen. I need backup at my location immediately. We've found some kind of buried structure, requesting additional search and rescue personnel." But even as he made the call, he knew there wasn't time to wait. If Emma was in there, she'd already been exposed to the cold for over 3.5 hours. Every second counted. Marcus found a weak spot in the old wood and kicked at it with his heavy boot. Once, twice, 3 times. On the fourth kick, the wood splintered and gave way, creating a dark opening into whatever lay beneath. Rex immediately tried to jump through the hole. "Wait, Rex, wait!" Marcus grabbed his flashlight and shined it into the darkness below. And that's when he saw her. Emma Mitchell was huddled in the corner of what appeared to be an old root cellar or storm shelter that had been abandoned decades ago. She was conscious, but barely. Her lips were blue. Her small body was shaking uncontrollably. She'd tried to pile old burlap sacks around herself for warmth, but it hadn't been nearly enough. But she was alive. "Emma!" Marcus shouted. "Emma, can you hear me? I'm a police officer. I'm here to help you!" The little girl's eyes fluttered open. When she saw Rex's face looking down at her through the hole, the faintest smile crossed her lips. "Doggy," she whispered. Marcus didn't hesitate. He widened the hole enough to fit through, then dropped down into the cellar. It was maybe 8 feet deep, cramped and filled with decades of debris. But it had saved Emma's life by providing shelter from the worst of the wind and snow. Marcus immediately stripped off his heavy jacket and wrapped it around the little girl. She was hypothermic, drifting in and out of consciousness. He radioed for medical support, but he knew the storm was still too severe for a helicopter evacuation. They'd have to carry her out on foot. "Emma, I need you to stay awake, okay? Can you do that for me? Stay awake and tell me about your favorite things. What's your favorite color?" "Pink," she mumbled through chattering teeth. "Pink is a great color. What else do you like?" "Dogs. I like dogs." Rex was still above them, his head hanging down through the hole, watching intently. "Well, you're going to love Rex then. He's the dog who found you. He's a hero." As Marcus carefully lifted Emma up through the hole in the roof, preparing to carry her back to safety, something caught his eye. Through the still falling snow, he saw that figure again. The mysterious stranger who'd been following them earlier. The person was standing at the edge of the clearing, completely still, watching them. But this time, Marcus could see more details. The person was an older man, maybe in his 60s or 70s, with a weathered face and kind eyes. He wore clothes that looked like they were from another era. And strangest of all, he didn't seem cold. He stood in the blizzard without even trembling. The old man smiled, nodded once at Marcus, and then pointed toward a specific direction through the trees. Marcus understood immediately. That was the fastest route back to the cabin. The old man was showing him the way. "Thank you," Marcus called out. But when he blinked the snow from his eyes, the stranger was gone, vanished as completely as if he'd never been there at all. The journey back was the hardest thing Marcus had ever done. He carried Emma in his arms, wrapped in his jacket, with Rex leading the way through the storm. Every step was agony. His body screamed at him to stop, to rest. But he kept putting one foot in front of the other. He followed the direction the old man had pointed, and miraculously, the path seemed clearer, easier. Almost as if someone had walked it before them, packing down the snow. After what felt like an eternity, but was probably only 45 minutes, Marcus saw lights through the trees. The cabin. They'd made it. Sarah Mitchell's scream of joy when she saw her daughter could probably be heard for miles. She ran through the snow, tears streaming down her face, and gently took Emma from Marcus's arms. Paramedics rushed forward, wrapping Emma in warming blankets, checking her vital signs. Against all odds, she was going to be okay. Cold, exhausted, with some minor frostbite on her fingers and toes, but she would make a full recovery. Marcus collapsed in the snow, completely spent. Rex immediately came to his side, licking his face, tail wagging. "Good boy," Marcus whispered. "Such a good boy." But the story doesn't end there, because 3 days later, after Emma had been released from the hospital and the media storm had died down, Marcus received a phone call that would change everything. It was Emma's grandmother, the owner of the cabin. "Officer Chen," she said, her voice trembling. I need to show you something. When Marcus arrived at the cabin, the grandmother led him to an old photograph hanging on the wall. It showed a man in his 30s, wearing old-fashioned clothes, standing in front of the very same cabin. "That's my father," she explained. "He built this cabin in 1952. He was a search and rescue volunteer. He saved dozens of lives in these mountains over his lifetime. He always said these mountains had a way of protecting those who were pure of heart." Marcus stared at the photograph. The face was younger, but there was no mistaking it. This was the old man he'd seen in the storm, the stranger who'd pointed him toward the fastest route home. "Ma'am," Marcus said slowly, "when did your father pass away?" 20 years ago, she replied. "February 14th, 2003, Valentine's Day. He died trying to rescue a lost hiker in a snowstorm." The room seemed to spin. Marcus looked down at Rex, who was sitting calmly, almost as if he understood everything. "He never liked to leave a job unfinished," the grandmother continued, tears in her eyes. "I think he's still out there, still helping, still saving people." Marcus Chen became a local hero, featured in newspapers and on television. He received commendations and awards, but he always insisted that the real hero was Rex. And maybe, just maybe, a guardian angel in the snow who'd refused to let another life be lost in the mountains he'd loved so much. Emma Mitchell made a complete recovery. For her 7th birthday, her parents got her a German Shepherd puppy. She named him Rex Jr., and sometimes, on cold winter nights in the Rocky Mountains, search and rescue workers report seeing an old man walking through the snow, pointing the way home to those who've lost their way. Because some heroes never stop saving lives. Even death can't stop them from answering the call. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories of heroism and hope. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that there's still good in the world. And leave a comment below telling us about a time when an animal saved your life or the life of someone you love. Remember, heroes come in all forms. Sometimes they have 4 legs, and sometimes they never truly leave us at all. Until next time, take care of each other.